from the future. Before the proper video kicks off, I just wanted to mention, because I forgot, like I always do, that we're listening to Killing Addiction. I got this in the mail. It's one of the jail releases I'm looking after for a while. Does not disappoint. And me from the future trying to save me from the past, I didn't show this CD. This is the compilation CD with Manticore and Witch King on it. That's what it looks like. Forgot to show it off. One of these days I'll get good at this horse shit. Alright, without further ado, the Boston Special. Greetings, YouTube. I'm back again. Pat Wilding at Ground Zero, Salem. So, I was thinking doing a little two-parter, little multi-layered video here. Last Sunday, I went to go see the Almighty Angel Corpse. They absolutely killed it. I think I still have some crappy video. Maybe I'll splice it in. Maybe I won't. We'll see how the quality is. Haven't seen Angel Corpse in about 17 years at this point, and they looked and sounded exactly the same. Airtight, just amazing, destroying shit, eat, fuck, kill, all that stuff is awesome. They had a lot of great local opener bands, which is kind of where I want to segue into this. Give it a little bit of a show review. This band Apollyon opened. They were from Portland, Maine. Portland's an interesting town. It's got some cool stuff going on. I like to visit there whenever I can. I used to live in Maine for a little while. Not a cool city like Portland, though. I lived in a shithole called Lewiston. But anyway, Apollyon was really cool. They had a nice mix of thrash, black, and death metal. A band called Peucharist from, I believe, Vermont played, that were a little bit sloppier black metal with some death metal influences, very chaotic. Band called Witch King played, that reminded me of a less complex, younger, hungrier kind of incantation kind of sound, a little bit more straightforward. To my ears, very like Craig Pillardish kind of vocals. They were great. And the return of Blessed Offal, who I've talked about on the channel a bunch before. Local death metal guys, definitely in that 90s spirit, but not directly ripping anybody off. Super catchy, great songwriting. They have an EP that I showed off. It's a single-sided. One side's etched on Blood Harvest, and they have a split LP with a great one-man project called Innumerable Forms, or it might be two-man project. I'm trying to remember. Not important. I met Ross from Blessed Offal during the show. We've been Facebook friends for a while, and he introduced himself. Super personable, nice guy, and he was kind enough to sell me some merch that they weren't even hawking at the show. He just happened to have in the trunk of his car. So I got their debut EP here. This is actually a cassette. It's one of those cassette in 7-inch sleeves kind of deals. It's on No Visible Scars. There's going to be a bunch of No Visible Scars all over this update, so prepare yourselves, folks. He also hooked me up with this nice size large t-shirt. I have kind of a diminutive stature, so I'll be taking that in a little bit at some point. Busting out my crust punk skills to take in the sides and whatnot. But yeah, nice shirt. And I had to give the guy money and insist on it. He wanted to just give them to me, so good fucking guy. Apollyon stuff that I picked up at the show. They were the first band that I saw and I was really impressed. And their stuff was relatively cheap, so I just bought everything they had. They have their debut EP, Raped by Death. Their second EP. The first one was from 2015. This one's from 2016. And pretty nice live tape. All these are cool. The debut EP, you can see how DIY this is. This is like scratched into a black slipcover. They must have hand scratched all of these. I don't know. CDR. They're both CDRs. Had a little trouble getting the second one to play, but I managed to just rip it to my computer. The debut is definitely more. There's thrash elements, but it's more Black Death kind of stuff. More heavily leaning on the black metal side of things. Kind of not too atypical second wave kind of stuff, maybe kind of Swedish sounding a little bit. Again, I know black metal I know about as much about black metal as I do gardening, so you know I might be talking out my ass a little bit, but hey, it's YouTube, that's what it's for. This, however, is definitely my wheelhouse. It's called Midnight, which is kind of on the nose there, guys, but it sounds a lot like Chapel and Midnight, and you know, that kind of stuff. Venom inspired, Bulldozer inspired. Great early 80s nasty black and roll, speed black, whatever you want to call it. The first song is called Nocturnal Slut, so you know what it's going to sound like. But despite kind of maybe not them most original ideas as far as song titles or lyrics, the songwriting far makes up for it. It's really great, catchy stuff, and it's awesome. The live tape, I think the tape's still in the deck here. It is. Another nice pro-printed black tape there. Nothing on the other side. Real simple, you know, J-card, one panel kind of deal. No song titles. Sounds awesome. And it's a bunch of songs off of both albums, or both CDs, CDR demos, whatever. And both those CDRs are long. Like, they're a good half an hour more or more in length. So that's cool. The Witch King stuff that I picked up, I'm kicking myself for not... They were selling an EP as well, and I didn't grab it because I thought, well, I only have so much money with me in cash. Angel Corpse might be selling stuff, which they weren't, or at least I didn't see any, which was kind of surprising. But this is a 4-way split that I picked up, figuring I'd get more bang for my buck, with Manticore, Bestial Mockery, Obeisance, and Witch King. The Witch King songs on this will be the only ones I talk about. Manticore's cool. You should probably have heard of Bestial Mockery, I would think. The Witch King songs are great. Just bare bones, raw, brutal death metal, you know, simplistic but effective, you know, not without their share of the ability to play their instruments. It's skilled, but it's a good punch in the face kind of shit, so that's cool. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the show, and I've done that. And while I was on that topic, I thought maybe I'd go into a little bit about just our local scene here in Boston, which is kind of tough for me, just because there's so much going on in Boston. Drink a beer for the working man. I don't get out to shows very often, maybe once a month. As I've mentioned before, I'm a new dad. Have a 1-year-old son, takes up a lot of my time. Wouldn't have it any other way. But, you know, I have to kind of call my shots. Like, for instance, Sunday, Morbid Angel and Suffocation are playing, and I'd kind of like to go just to see people and hear the songs that I like, but Steve Tucker era stuff's okay. That's who they're playing with, and that's the stuff that they're playing, but I can't justify leaving the house for that. Suffocation's playing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even think Frank is with them, so there's a lot of things like that. I definitely made time to see Angel Corpse and see those awesome local bands. So I know some of the local scene. There's an insane amount of bands that play in Boston, just a lot. So I am by no means like a scenester that knows every band. I've got some cool friends that play in some cool bands. I've got a handful of nice demos here. So, not by no means comprehensive, because there's a lot of shit going on in this town. One that I just picked up, and I didn't even know about these guys. I read about them on the Nuclear War Now board. I just got the tape maybe a month ago tops. It's this band Immortal War. Hell's... Oh, I can't even read that. For shame. Hell's Razor. 2-man project. Nice little tape. Let's get the clear there. Listen to this 4 or 5 times in a row in the car when I got it. There's a J card there. It looks like, yeah, 2-guy project. It's sort of along the same lines as that sleazy Venom, Bulldozer kind of thrashy, blackened metal kind of stuff. Although with them, I feel like, whether intentional or not, there's almost a touch of like newer thrash on there. I'm speaking specifically about like the tone, intensity, and tempo changes of bands like Foreseen and Power Trip. And that might just be me. I mean, I might be completely off base with that, but it is a very, very good tape. Tonight I'm probably going to be up late, so I'll be splicing in little samples here and there, much like the JL video, so I'm going to force you to listen to these bands. You know, if you don't like it, fucking leave. Anyway, so we got Malleus next. On my first video, you'll recall if you saw the first video, that I was wearing this shirt. This is one of the best demos of last year. 3-piece from Boston. Cool J card that folds out. I don't even know if it qualifies as a J card if it folds out. Little poster, whatever. There's the guys right there. There's the tape, Pro Tape, black. I got in on the ground floor with this band because their drummer I play Dungeons and Dragons with. His character, Chad Son of a Baker, is a fucking pain in the ass and always gets us into trouble. Although I do miss Chris at practice. He's very busy with school stuff, so he hasn't been... I'm sorry, I miss Chris at D&D. He hasn't been able to play in a while because he has a lot of work and band commitments to tie them up. Anyway, this is a really, really good demo. It's been praised a lot. It's Celtic Frost Hellhammer worship stuff, but not completely derivative. And I think that's the important thing to note, is that there's a lot of these bands that just try to sound exactly like HH or CF, and these guys are in that vein, but they have a really good sense of riff structure and writing songs. And also the vocals don't sound like Celtic Frost vocals at all. They're more like a high register black metal sort of shrieking. So yeah, check that out if you can. I don't know if tapes are still available. They're all punk dudes. They're not, they love metal, but they kind of came more from the punk scene. So they're kind of new to the Boston metal scene in a sense, even though they've been in bands in the Boston area for, God, like 15 years, I think. This is an older one, this band Untombed. This came out, as you can see, in 2010. I just want to give these guys a mention because I think they're still playing. Boston has a really cool community of metalheads from Central and South America, and they're the most dedicated supporters of the scene that we have. And this band is mostly guys from that crew. Singer's a sweetheart. They are like a really heavy, chunky, mid-tempo kind of moshy death metal band. They do it really well. They're not straight up slam or anything like that, but they are a heavy, like, slow to mid-tempo punishing kind of thing. And I think if you happen to like slam, you might dig them. I'll put up a link, throw in a sample. And I can't go one or two updates without mentioning Panzer Bastard, and I'm running out of shit to show, but this is their compilation CD of 2006 to 2009. This came out on Patac Records. I mentioned I did a big distro order from them recently. Great distro. This was like the beginning era of Panzer Bastard with their original lineup. They still have the same bassist and drummer. They have actually their drummer plays guitar now, and they have a different guy playing drums, come to think of it. But this is their beginnings, and this is that raw combination of speed metal and D-beat and a few other cool influences that Motorhead, that heavy influence from Motorhead that I've gushed over before. Again, if any of that sounds like something that might be up your alley, you really can't do any better than Panzer Bastard, seriously. And when I get around to going through the 7 inches a little bit more, we'll come across their latest 7-inch. And I'll probably give that a little mini review as I do, because it's the best thing that they've done so far. So check out Panzer Bastard. These other three are all kind of related because they have one member that is kind of the brain that writes a lot of this stuff. Mike Ninkazi, he was first in this band Witch Tomb, who are definitely something to check out if you like the bestial stuff, if you like war metal. They kind of did it for me more than other bands of that genre because they have some interesting noise woven in, experimental stuff and like keyboards, and also there's just parts that stick with you more for me than a lot of bands from that genre. And I've talked about that before. Witch Tomb was kind of the start. More of a continuation of Witch Tomb is this band Impenitent Thief. This is also out on No Visible Scars cassette. Real cool. One of those sticker kind of deals there. It's kind of like a Band-Aid. It's green, photocopied J-card. This kind of expands on the Witch Tomb stuff a bit. A little bit more, at least with the slow parts in this, almost exploring melody a little bit, dare I say, with the keyboards. It's definitely, certainly very, very good, forward-thinking kind of bestial stuff. I realize that's a contradiction in terms, but there you have it. And this just came out this year. This is Deathgod Messiah, although this is a very late posthumous release. This initially was recorded in 2013, I believe, at least according to Metal Archives, for what it's worth. Show it. It's also got like that sort of blasphemy, Archgoat kind of bent to it. There's Mike right there. The drummer's the same drummer from Panzer Bastard. His name's Marcus. It does have that bestial kind of bent to it, but it's also very rooted, it sounds to my ears, in 90s death metal. It's a solid down the line kind of combo.
Where is God? There is no God.
So that's great. All these I listen to a lot. I like a lot of the stuff that Mike does. So, and you know, he's a buddy of mine, so I gotta give him props. But yeah, wow, I burned through that quicker than I thought. What do you guys want to talk about? Give me a topic. Fucking new socks. I got some new socks, and I was super bummed because usually new socks are the shit, right? Your old socks are getting kind of hard and crusty. And I expect mine to just be like I'm walking on air, but they were the ones maybe had a little bit too high of a ratio of fucking polyester. You know what I'm talking about? And they make your feet sweat way, way too fucking much. And I was working a fucking 12-hour shift yesterday, and it was goddamn killing me. I felt like my feet were in like tiny Ziploc bags when I got home. It was awful. Oh yeah, I actually have another band to talk about, come to think of it. I don't have a physical product to show off because all their stuff's up on Bandcamp. And I normally don't do this, but again, part of my D&D crew, you know, that kind of loyalty runs deep. But my friend Paris, my friend John, are in a traditional doom band called Concilium, and they're recording new material right now. They did a demo a little while ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. That's not the best representation of their sound now, but I'm gonna put some stuff up from it because I think it's really good. And it's traditional doom, like we're talking Solitude Aeternus, Candlemass kind of shit, you know, not any of this, God knows what. Like, what are some of those fucking bands? I don't know, that stoner stuff that I can't stand. vein of the old shit. So yeah, I'll post something up from that. And there's a band called Upheaval that's also really good. They're kind of a combination of sludge and death metal. And a band called Coagula, who I'll put something else up by. Yeah, that's what's going on in Boston right now. Hope you like my sock review. I can't even remember the name of the brand of socks, to be honest. And I can't think of any of those stoner bands that I hate either. And there's so fucking many of them. I'm just not on my game. You know, I've had like one beer and I'm fucking forgetting everything. Anyway, I'm about to hit 200 subscribers, which is wild. Thanks to everybody for subbing. Thanks especially to Scourge of Vinyl for mentioning me a number of times. Like, that's really awesome, man. I enjoy his channel. All my buddies that do this, you know, Marty, Eric, Ben, Aaron, you guys know who you are. Anybody who watches, I appreciate it. It's cool. So, yeah, let me finish off this bad boy, and then I gotta force myself to get some sleep. Later.